anything that he wanted, you understand?
Tupac's image as a thug was catching up with him. The shooting had left him with 5 bullet wounds, the most serious of which was a severed artery in his thigh. Tupac was paying the price for not only writing about our violent culture, but also for being a part of it.
This is all about my image. Has nothing to do with me. This is all about my image. It's like MTV, all the papers, they building me up. Now they destroying me on the same image that they perpetuated. You know what I'm saying? I'm selling records. This is what I do for a living. I'm selling records. Don't get it twisted. This is not my real life. This is not how my real life is supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be really having all these villains in my life.
You can't blame a rapper for murders unless you're going to blame Arnold Schwarzenegger for all the people he killed in Terminator. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna blame a rapper when we only speak it, and then you got actors who show it, but you don't blame them?
Less than 5 hours after his operation, and against doctors' advice, Tupac Shakur checked himself out of the hospital. He had other problems to deal with. The rapper was due in court to face rape charges brought on by a 19-year-old woman. Charges he angrily denied.
Why am I in court? You know what I'm saying? Get my life ripped apart. But I'm here, I'm gonna go through it just to show that I have faith in the American system. But soon I'm gonna go crazy.
Acquitted of sodomy and weapons charges, Tupac was instead convicted of forcibly touching the woman's buttocks, a felony sex abuse charge. He was given the maximum sentence, up to 4.5 years behind bars. To his legion of fans, it seemed that the law was making an example of Tupac Shakur.
Pac was the one that had the biggest mouth and would say it the loudest and say it to anybody. You know what I'm saying? There was times where he said it even to his mother.
I'm loud. I didn't shut up. But I didn't think they was going to take it this serious. Me keep talking out. I didn't think it was going to be a matter of life and death.
What did you do? What happened? Can you tell us?
While at the Clinton Correctional Facility in upstate New York, Tupac seemed to undergo a startling transformation. The king of gangsta rap publicly denounced thug life.
Well, you got to realize when Pac was in jail, you know, jail will make you start thinking. And you're going to do anything you can to get out of jail, you know? So, to me, when he denounced thug life, it was like, you know, I'm only playing. Let me get up out of here.
But getting out of there wasn't so simple.
Obviously, Pac was in a dire position, being incarcerated and, you know, his money being dwindled down because of all the cases and, you know what I mean, fighting these bogus lawsuits and all of that.
In exchange for signing with Death Row and taking him on as his manager, Suge Knight promised to get Tupac out on bail. And soon enough, the all-powerful godfather of hip-hop made it happen.
I never saw the contract. I just remember the phone call. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling her saying, you know, I'm on Death Row now. You know, I just signed with Death Row.
They tried to control Tupac. Even when they sent him to Death Row, they thought Suge was going to be able to control him. But, you know, that was just like putting a flame with some dynamite. That's going to blow.
The master agitator was free and eager to get back to what he knew best, holding up a mirror to society's ills.
Once he got out, it was like all that anger that was built up while he was sitting in jail came out all at one time.
But soon, in a hail of bullets, that mirror will be forever shattered. September 7th, 1996, 9 p.m., Las Vegas. After beating up on an alleged Crips gang member in the lobby of the MGM Grand Hotel, Tupac and his entourage make their way back to their rooms to change before heading to Club 662, where Tupac is scheduled to play. In just over 2 hours, Tupac Shakur will be left for dead.
I remember Tupac coming back to the hotel, and he was really excited. So he came upstairs and he was like, Jamala, you wouldn't believe it. I did a 1-2 on the dude. I knocked him out. I did a Mike Tyson on him.
While getting dressed, Tupac decides not to wear his bulletproof vest, a garment not out of place on a man with so many enemies.
I remember Castro saying to Pac, you should put your vest on. I think you should wear your vest tonight. Pac saying, nah, it's too hot. I don't want to wear my vest tonight. It's too hot for that.
Normally he wouldn't leave without it, but this time he left it. He didn't have it with him.
After the short pit stop, Tupac and the others wind their way across the strip to a mansion belonging to Suge Knight, Tupac's manager and the owner of Death Row Records. Suge and Tupac disappear briefly while the others wait impatiently.
I don't really know what Pac and Suge was doing at the time. You know what I mean? I just know we was waiting and I was ready to go.
Almost everything in Suge Knight's mansion is red, the official color of the Mob Piru, an offshoot of the LA gang, the Bloods.
He wore a lot of red. It was his choice of color. He was from Compton. His hood, his set were of, Bloods. So by him wearing red, if that's what he was representing, then that was on him.
Some felt that by associating with a record label connected to the Bloods, Tupac was making himself yet more enemies, this time with the Bloods' arch rivals, the Southside Crips. But his bodyguard, Frank Alexander, saw it differently.
Tupac was not gang-related. If you want to represent a color with Tupac, it would have been green, and that's the color of money.
After about half an hour, with Tupac and the others ready to leave for Club 662, Tupac makes an unusual request to his bodyguard.
I was walking to the car with Suge and with Tupac, and I was actually opening up the back door to get in the back seat. And Pac stopped and said, no, take the keys and go drive the Lexus with the Outlaws in it, because we're going to be drinking and you're going to be the designated driver to drive us back after we've finished partying over at 662.
Tupac's last-minute arrangement comes at the urging of Suge Knight, who wants to talk privately with his star rapper. The procession snakes its way back to the Vegas Strip for the concert at Club 662, a concert he will never get to play. Less than a year earlier, Tupac had seemed invincible. He had survived a point-blank shooting in New York. He had survived jail time in a maximum security prison and had emerged more popular than ever. His first album with Death Row, All Eyes on Me, took him to the top. Within 3 weeks, the album went platinum. Yet, despite this success, Tupac decided that, when the time came, he would not renew his contract with Death Row Records.
Tupac was ready to leave the record label, and there was a reason for it. So, that reason only his mom and the immediate people within his camp would know what that reason was.
Privately, Tupac believed that Death Row was not giving him a fair cut of the money he was bringing in. But Death Row was not Tupac's only problem. He was also fighting with an old rival, New York-based rapper Biggie Smalls, who he had attacked repeatedly in his songs. Their feud fueled rumors of a war between East Coast and West Coast rappers.
Well, the East Coast-West Coast beef was like a mirage. It wasn't true, because all Pac is from the East Coast, all the Outlaws from the East Coast, It was just a beef that he had with Biggie.
Tupac had spent the last 6 years fighting with the cops, the courts, other rappers, and now violent gangs. It was getting increasingly hard to tell his friends from his enemies.
Pac's big mistake was speaking truth to power. When you have that level of honesty, they don't want you here. No one does.
And now, as Tupac rides to Club 662 with Suge Knight, he has no idea that one of those enemies is about to strike back.
Once we got to Flamingo, we made a right-hand turn.